Go get the meeting started tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our regular City Commission meeting for Monday, July 13th, 2026. Glad to have you all here and glad to have everybody in attendance online. We'll go ahead and start with roll call.
Benson. Here. Birch.
Here.
Brunick.
Here.
Sarda.
Here.
Conkling.
Here.
Hunoff.
Here.
Mosier. Here. Spencer.
Here.
Mayor Villanueva.
Here.
City Manager Leon.
Here.
City Attorney Denherter.
Here.
Next, we'll go ahead and do an approval of our agenda here this evening. Do I have a motion to approve our agenda?
So moved. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor for approval of the agenda. Any discussion about that? Okay, all in favor of approving the agenda, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Okay, agenda is approved. Next, we're going to go ahead and approve the minutes of the regular meeting of June 22nd, 2026. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes of June 22nd.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor. Any commission discussion? Anyone from the public? To approve the minutes, will all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Minutes are approved. Next, we'll do our schedule of bills. Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
Move to pay the bills. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to pay the bills. Any commission discussion? Anyone from the public? Roll call.
Sarda.
Aye.
Conkling.
Aye.
Hunoff.
Aye.
Mosier.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Birch.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
Aye, bills will be paid. Next, we have the city manager's report.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the Commission, and the public. Our mission is working together to provide exemplary experiences, services, and spaces that create opportunities for everyone to learn, engage, and thrive. And certainly, no one embodied that more than the Yankton Parks and Recreation Department, as well as the volunteers who participated in planning and organizing our whole week of events associated with Yankton Celebrates America 250th celebration. What a great job. What a great day on the 4th of July. Wonderful music, wonderful fireworks, just a really great event and fun for everyone the whole week long. So want to make sure everyone involved knows how appreciative everyone was and what a great time we had. More things to come for the 250th as well, but that was really our biggest celebration for America's birthday. So I think we did it right and hosted a lot of people very well in Yankton. So proud of everybody there, and we should be proud of our community with that. Want to also talk a little bit about roll carts and garbage, one of those things that people don't like change about, but we're having a change coming. Residents in their utility bill will get some information coming up shortly. But I want to talk about new change with our automated solid waste truck. We do ask that people place their cart with the handles and wheels towards the house. So their black carts need the handles and wheels towards the house. Their garbage collection day does not change. It remains the same. And garbage collected in alleys also remains the same. At this time, recycling does not change. All garbage does need to be bagged, as always. So garbage needs to be placed in your black cart in a bag. And the bag needs to be secured and the garbage roll cart has to have the lid closed. That's always been a rule or something we've asked, but we're just reiterating that. And we do ask that people use their roll carts. So previously we did allow people, if they just had one bag of solid waste or garbage, that they could just put that out on the curb. But our new solid waste truck doesn't pick up one bag. It will pick up the cart. So we ask folks that they do use their black roll cart. So put that cart out before 7 a.m. on the collection day. We also ask that the cart has a clearance of at least 3 feet away from any mailbox or vehicle or other obstacle, or from your other carts, so that the arm can actually grab it and pick it up without disturbing anything else. And then again, the roll cart with the handles and wheels facing your house. So we'll work with people and we'll keep getting the word out there, but we're looking forward to that change and appreciating folks working with us on that. Also, want to once again thank Mayor Villanueva for hosting us last week. The city employees were able to have a picnic. We did a little bit differently. We asked the employees if they'd like to have it outside, and our workers that are outside felt like eating hot chicken and hot hamburgers and in the heat was maybe not so enjoyable, and they wanted a half hour of air conditioning, so we actually had it in City Hall. So it was an indoor picnic, but they were very appreciative, and they wanted to show a little token of their appreciation. So, Mayor, we have for you a little gift. It's a prayer and devotional book for first responders. We know that that's something important to you, and so we just wanted to show our appreciation in some way and thank you for your generosity, and hope that you enjoy that and think of us when you use it. So thank you very much. And I don't have anything else, Mayor, but I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
You bet. Any questions for the city manager? Yes.
I just have
Commissioner.
one. Going back to the new garbage system, I've had a couple of questions. So the old way you used to have two guys on the back of the truck and one driving. This new truck, you only need a driver, basically. They were concerned that those people were terminated. I said, no, they were probably just reassigned. Can you clarify that for me, please?
That's correct. We haven't eliminated any positions with the change of the automated truck.
Yes, Commissioner, go ahead.
Just to follow up, so I understand what you said, but as people retire or resign, will we replace them, or could this in the future result in a drop in FTEs?
I don't think we have enough information to know that yet, Commissioner. We've barely gotten the truck rolled out, so we're still studying how much time it is going to save us. And we also don't know, if the truck breaks down, how long it would take to get back online, because that's not something that we can repair here locally. Also, as everyone can appreciate, there's a lot of times where we have somebody out either for extended leave because of injury or family medical leave. So we want to look at that as well. But we'll evaluate that as we have a chance to work with that equipment a little bit more. We just rolled it out a couple of weeks ago, and so still training folks on it, but so far everybody does enjoy it, and it has made solid waste pick up a little faster. Certainly when the carts are turned the right way, we'll have a better idea on actually timing.
I will say they came through our neighborhood and I watched them for a while. It's a pretty slick system the way they do it.
Yes, Commissioner, go ahead.
Also on the subject of solid waste and the roll carts and so forth, I've had some comments from people who are used to putting out single bag. Obviously, they aren't particularly happy about it, but that kind of is the way it works. And a couple ladies at the senior center, elderly, and they say that the big roll cart is huge. Is there a possibility of a half-size roll cart or something that would still be manageable for the truck to pick up and available to senior citizens that just don't need more than a bag or two to go out?
We don't have a smaller roll cart. When we came up with the cart system, at the time the commission decided to do a one-size cart, sort of a one-size-fits-all, so to speak. I know that particularly, I guess, in one neighborhood that I have close information on, someone that has just one bag of cart or one bag of trash per week might just put that bag of trash in their neighbor's cart instead of rolling their cart out because they've had some surgeries and don't feel comfortable, especially on ice, putting that out. And sometimes even her neighbor is nice enough to come pick up her trash and put it in her own cart. So that's something that's an option as well. But we went for those larger carts and tried to alleviate some of the excessive garbage that would come along with larger families. And we do have, just like we have some people that have one bag of garbage, we have lots of pickup that's plumb full every single week. So we have that as well. But for the time being, we've only used the one large cart. But we certainly don't think, nobody minds, I think, if you're sharing a cart with someone as long as you're communicating with your neighbor.
Okay, any more questions for the city manager? Just wanted to also reiterate quickly, again, thank you to all the staff that put in all the effort, time. It was a lot of work. I was down at the park for the 4th, and it was really neat to see all that culmination of all that hard work come together. It doesn't happen by accident, and it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of planning to do that. And I know that, I believe, I was told that, Todd, you started sending out emails, I believe it was back in September, if that's correct? Quite a while ago. So thank you both. Thank you all the staff. And it was truly, thank you for my gift. It was unnecessary, but truly is appreciated. And again, I do what I do for the staff because you make this city operate. And we really, really appreciate you. And we have the best employees in the world. I just want to say thank you. So next we have, now is the time for public appearances. If you would like to address the commission on something that is not on the agenda this evening, now is your chance to come up to the microphone. Please state your name and your business. Okay, I'm seeing no movement out from the audience right now, so we'll move on next. We have no scheduled presentations this evening. So we'll dive right into our consent items on the agenda. The first thing we have is a possible quorum. Bruce Myers will be honored as Yankton Citizen of the Year, an outdoor reception to be held on Saturday, July 18th from 10:30 a.m. to noon at Riverside Park, shelter number 3. If a city commission quorum is present, no commission action will be taken. And then the second item on the consent agenda is establish a public hearing for a new application for retail on-off sale malt beverage and South Dakota farm wine. Established July 27, 2026 is a date for a public hearing for a new application for retail on-off sale malt beverage and South Dakota farm wine license for July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027 for River City Jump, Matt Evans, 2101 Broadway Ave, Suite 20, Yankton, South Dakota, 57078. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
Move the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor to approve the consent agenda, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Consent agenda item is approved. Okay, next we'll go ahead and do old business. We have a public hearing for, number one is public hearing for a request to vacate right-of-way. Consideration of memorandum number 26-147 for a public hearing for vacation of unimproved 33 feet of section line right-of-way in section 13, T93 North, R56 West that adjoins to the west side, Lot C of Vanderhuel's addition to the City of Yankton. Recommending the City of Yankton Commission approve the Planning Commission's recommendation to adopt resolution number 26-27, vacating the described right-of-way. And I see Mr. Beese at the mic. Would you please give us some explanation?
Yeah, Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, as you know, we are cautious about the vacation of right-of-way. So this is an instance where a portion of property is adjacent to the remnant of a section line highway, half of which is located within the city limits. So we're on the very edge of the corporate limits there. Ample right-of-way exists to the west, and in fact, in the subsequent years after the section lines were laid out, that's actually where the transportation corridor developed and where existing utilities are at. We've consulted with those utilities, none of which object. There's ample right-of-way for future development. Staff recommends approval, as did the Planning Commission, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, Commission? Okay.
I'll move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any other commission discussion? See no mics come on. Anyone from the public? Roll call.
Conkling.
Aye.
Hanoff.
Aye.
Mosier.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Birch.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Sarda.
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
Aye, motion passes. Next, item number 2, under old business, we have the second reading and public hearing for temporary closure of streets and parking lots in downtown Meridian District on August 21st through the 23rd, 2026. Consideration of memorandum number 26-148, recommending the City Commission approve the Yankton Riverboat Days and Summer Arts Festival special events public street closure request on Levy Street from Douglas Ave to Pearl Street and closures of the Capitol Building parking lot, Riverside Park parking lot, Riverside Park softball parking lot, and Riverside Park boat ramp parking lot. Commission, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any commission discussion? Okay. Anyone from the public? Okay, seeing no movement. Roll call.
Mosier.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Mayor Benson.
Aye.
Birch.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Sarda.
Aye.
Conkling.
Aye.
Hanoff.
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
I'll abstain affiliation. Okay, item number 3 under old business, the second reading and public hearing for temporary street closures in the downtown Meridian District and outside the Meridian District for the Riverboat Days Parade on August 22nd, 2026. So this consideration of memorandum number 26-149, recommending the City Commission approve the Yankton Riverboat Days Parade special event public street closures both in the Meridian District and outside of the Meridian District. Street closures include Douglas Ave from 21st Street to 8th Street, 8th Street from Douglas Ave to Cedar Street, and Cedar Street from 8th Street to 3rd Street, and 3rd Street from Cedar Street to Pine Street. Commission, do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any commission discussion about this? Or any explanation, review? Okay, seeing no mics come on. Anyone from the public? Seeing no movement, roll call.
Spencer.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Birch.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Sarda.
Aye.
Conkling.
Aye.
Hanoff.
Aye.
Mosier.
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
I'll abstain affiliation. Okay, that moves us into new business on our agenda. So the first item under new business is the Summit Activity Center indoor swimming. The consideration of memorandum number 26-150, recommending the City Commission continue with the current policy for summer outdoor aquatics, ensuring that in inclement weather, swimming lessons can remain on schedule. So let's talk about this and have some discussion. I'm sure there'll be questions. Todd, would you mind?
Yeah, so in the past, we've had the Summit Activity Center available for open swims when the Huther Family Aquatic Center closes. We do have swimming lessons that take place in afternoons. Could be Monday, Wednesday, Friday afternoons, could be Tuesday, Thursday afternoons. This year it's Tuesday, Thursdays. So in those situations, we would never consider moving outdoor swimming, open swims, indoors to displace the swimming lessons. But Saturdays, Sundays, and this week and this year, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, that could be something that we consider. We have in the past moved open swims indoor and have not had very good attendance at those. So again, just as looking at cost savings this year, we decided not to move them indoors if we have days when it's inclement weather. And again, that's normally if we're going to be not opening at all. If it's inclement weather, once we are open, then we make decisions on, are we closed for only a half hour to an hour, depending on lightning and thunder and those type of things, or are we closing for the day based on what the weather forecast is showing and what's moving into the area. So those are just some things that we've tried to do through the years. And again, as I said, this year we decided that we were not going to move open swims indoor.
Okay, thank you. Commission, yes, Commissioner, go ahead.
So what happens with the staff if you close the Huther Aquatic Center and move it over to the Summit Center? Does the entire staff move, or just some of the lifeguards, or how does that work?
No, yeah, it would be a matter of figuring out, and again, maybe Luke, there was a way in the past that Luke could address, but no, yeah, it would be a matter of taking 25 staff and whittling them down to 3 or 4 when we move indoors.
Commissioner, go ahead.
I agree, we don't want to interrupt the swimming lessons, and those are only 2 days a week. seems to me we should stay flexible. I'm looking at something I saw on the website here, and if we follow this, there's nothing we need to change, but it says here on the Huther site, it says, in the event of inclement weather and inability to open the Huther Family Aquatic Center, open swim may be moved inside. Of course, the swimming lesson days would be one that you would not, but I remember third week of June, Friday the 19th, I believe you closed early for cold weather, and Sunday the 21st, you're completely closed for cold weather. I was in the Summit both of those days. There was nothing going on in the pool, and I thought it just would have been a nice option because, you know, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, that's when you might have a group came to town for a birthday party or something, and even though it might not be as well attended, it would be a nice option to make available. I don't see how it would hurt anything. So I'm just saying, be flexible and when it makes sense. I was looking at your average daily census for the last few years that was provided, and it seems to me, and I haven't totally crunched the numbers yet as far as like average, which day is most popular, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I haven't done that yet. I'm going to. But I have noticed heat is a big factor. Your best days are often the hottest. But after that, and this is just an observation I haven't crunched yet, but it seems like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday generally are better attended than the other weekdays. And those days don't conflict with swimming lessons. So I guess I would just encourage us to continue with the policy we have on our website is when it makes sense, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in particular, consider doing it.
Okay, so just to clarify, is that what we're doing then right now, Todd? Just following the...
No, this year we were not going to move outdoor swims indoor.
Yep. Okay. Okay, so any more? Yes, Steph. Commissioner, excuse me.
The question I have, and you addressed it in the commission packet, but just to kind of bring it up, how do we police that students are in the summit just stay in the pool and aren't then leaving the pool and running into the gym and doing things there or going upstairs and deciding, well, now I'm going to work out? Is there a way to contain that? Because that would be a concern of mine, being a summit member myself. I'm upstairs working out, and then all of a sudden, all these swim kids come up and start doing something or taking away time from me. I don't know if that would be an issue, but you kind of brought up in the packet that can sometimes be an issue in kind of patrolling where all they go if we open it up to everyone.
Yeah, in the past that we've had those issues, and again, since we weren't doing anything this year, that's something we could talk through. If we bring over 3 or 4 lifeguards, it may be a situation where we need to bring over another person at the desk, so we have 2 people at the desk versus 1, so that way when they're dealing with people, as people are coming out of locker rooms, coming out of the doors, out of the swim, kind of monitoring where people are going. Sometimes the gymnasium is open in the summers if there's floors not being redone, but we also have programming going on in there. So we have people coming and going very regularly out of our lobby. And then again, in the summers, we may not have people upstairs during the mornings and afternoons. So again, if we bring open swims in, that might be something again where we have to bring 3 or 4 lifeguards, but then also bring an extra body for the front desk and maybe talk to somebody if they can help us and put them to work upstairs, just so we have bodies in the facility for now, having open swims and more people inside the facility if that should be the case.
Yes, Commissioner, go ahead.
The scenario that Commissioner Mosier raised, wouldn't that be the same as it would be during the 9 months of the year that we have open swim at the summit, September through May, as far as the possibility a kid might wander away?
Just depends on staffing, if we've got 2 people at the front desk and a person upstairs roaming around, working upstairs, to help police that.
Only thing I want to add is that we have not had many days when we've had to close, but weather keeps getting more extreme, and I just think there's probably going to be incrementally possibly more and more of these days in our future, whether it be cold weather, thunder and lightning, heavy rain, wind, whatever. Seems like it's likely there'll be more in the future than we have in the past.
So Mike on over here. Yes, Commissioner, go ahead.
I also think it doesn't cost us anymore. That labor's already been budgeted. It's not going to cost us anymore if we bring some people over from the Huther Center. And those kids have signed up to work and they're wanting hours, or most of them. And I think it's fair to give them an opportunity to keep those hours by moving over if it's possible.
Okay. What other discussion do we have, Commission? Go ahead, Commissioner.
I was debating whether I wanted to open a can of worms, but I'll just go ahead and do it. Doesn't this, I mean, weather impacts all of our summer programming. It's not just the pool, it's all of our summer programs that potentially get canceled. So I'm wondering, why we would just highlight the pool and not address all of our summer programming if that was something we were concerned about, people not getting their time in for a service they paid for. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Sure. Okay. Commissioner, any other points? Okay, so do we need to, we'll make a motion then to stay with the current trajectory?
Well, Mr. Mayor, if we stay with the current system as published, we don't need to take any action at all. I'm just asking the Parks Department to consider it
Okay.
when it makes sense.
Okay.
My 2 cents on it, I think whatever the commission decides, direction is probably appropriate. If we're going to keep with what Todd had indicated is the current practice, we probably ought to update the website accordingly, or give alternative direction, just so that we're not giving conflicting information to the public.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anything else, Commission? Then we're going to move on. Okay, we'll move on. Okay, item number 2, the Triple B request for electrical upgrades at Riverside Park. Consideration of memorandum number 26-151, recommending that the City Commission approve a not-to-exceed amount of $7,000 from the Triple B for electrical upgrades at Riverside Park. And could we get some explanation on this too, please?
Yeah, so with events moving down to Riverside Park, obviously Riverboat Days being in the park, the electrical inspector is familiar with our park as he or she have inspected things through the years as we've put on events down there. And it's now come to the point where without approving anything, allowing things to happen, the older systems that we have in place, there's panels that were homemade, have grates on the front of them to let a little bit of airflow in so stuff doesn't overheat. And again, things are just old down there. So the recommendation now from the electrical inspector is before Riverboat Days happens this year, you really need to upgrade your electrical systems. Think of the breaker boxes, that they now become GFI or ground fault interrupter, GFCI, all the different things, the different terms. Anyway, what it means is if something plugs into it and is not functioning the way it should, it trips the breaker. If the cords that are plugged into it, if weather becomes an issue, there's water or whatever that is short that's going to happen, it trips the breaker. Obviously, it's for safety reasons. Nobody get electrocuted, no fire start. So there are a number of panels on our different shelter houses that need this upgrade. At that time, not only would the boxes get changed out so they're now weatherproof, waterproof, but they also would have the GFI breakers installed in them so everything meets code. When the inspector comes for Riverboat Days, there's no issue about, again, no matter what shelter house, who's plugging in, it all meets electrical standards in today's world.
Okay, thanks for the explanation. Commissioner, any questions?
I'll move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Got a motion and a second on the floor. Any more commission discussion? Seeing no mics turn on. Anyone from the public? Seeing no movement, roll call.
Benson.
Aye.
Birch.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Sarda.
Aye.
Conkling.
Aye.
Hanoff.
Aye.
Mosier.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
Aye, motion passes. Next, we have the Triple B request for the Liberty Tree and plaque. Consideration of memorandum number 26-152, recommending that the City Commission fund the purchase of a Liberty Tree and plaque in honor of America's 250th anniversary from the Triple B with a not-to-exceed amount of $6,500. And while you're there, Todd, would you please give us an explanation of that too for the public?
Yeah, so this was brought forward by one of our commissioners, and so we've looked at getting a plaque made, and again, we can talk a little bit more about cost because those actually came in today, but it could be an aluminum plaque, could be a bronze plaque, but then it would also be placed in front of a Liberty tree, which would be a Valley Forge M that we would buy, our urban forestry staff would buy and plant. And then there's been talk about doing a program with school children, whether it be middle school or elementaries. Again, some of those details would have to be worked out as we talk with the school district, but trying to do something on Thursday, September 17th, which was the anniversary of the signing of the U.S. Constitution. So again, goes along with all the things that we've been doing for the 250th, talking to the community about trying to plant 250 trees in the year for 250 trees for 250 years. So this goes along with that. I'd have to open up my email unless Amy has it in front of her. The cost difference between the aluminum and the bronze.
I can look it up, Todd.
The bronze one I know is about $3,100. It's the, hold on here one second. The aluminum was around $1,500 or $1,600, if I remember right, but let me find that. The aluminum one was $1,800 and the bronze one was $3,100. And again, we're talking probably 1.5 feet by about 1.5 feet for a plaque on a post up in the air. So it wouldn't be a granite plaque or anything that sits down on the ground in front of the tree.
Okay, thanks for that explanation. Do I have a motion for the Liberty Tree Commission?
Do we have a, can I ask a question
Yes.
first? Which one lasts longer, bronze or aluminum? I'm guessing bronze, but
That's not a question I've ever asked. We had an aluminum one made for the Lewis and Clark statue that's on the water treatment plant. Man, there's that one bronze. The aluminum one might be over at the flag football field in Sertoma Park on the football. But no, I guess I've never asked if one lasts longer than the other. That's something I could ask. We're going through Meyer signs, so.
No, I would just say, it would seem to me that bronze might last longer. Sometimes the patina will change on bronze, but, that's fine.
So if we do a bronze plaque, knowing the cost, then we're still going to be within the proposed budgeted allowance then, correct? Okay, just want to make sure. Go ahead, Commissioner.
I just wanted to read it. I'm the one that brought it up, and I talked to City Manager Leone, and she came up with the idea of having the kids involved, maybe do a little presentation since the Constitution, what Liberty Trees stand for, and City Manager Leone actually created the text for it. I don't know if you want to read it. I thought it was pretty appropriate.
Sure. City Manager, did you have a question first or comment?
Yeah, I just, not that Google knows everything, but it does say online here that bronze does weather better in outdoor conditions. So just so folks know that. So staff and Commissioner Conkling and I went back and forth a little bit with the wording, but what we thought and settled on and wanted to include in the packet for you to look at was the following. Following the destruction of Boston's original Liberty Tree by the British colonial patriots across 13 colonies designated their own Liberty trees as gathering places for public speeches and debates. The city of Yankton planted this Valley Forge elm to celebrate America's 250th anniversary and honor our nation's independence. Please rest and find inspiration in its shade.
Very nice. Okay. Any more questions? Yes, Commissioner, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the bronze as quoted and the tree and funds coming from the BBBE.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more questions or discussion, Commission?
Just so due credit is given, she said we went back and forth. That was all her.
Okay.
Well, you said it sounded good, so.
Okay. Any more discussion or questions? Okay, seeing no mics come on. Anyone from the public? Roll call.
Birch.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Sarda.
Aye.
Conkling.
Aye.
Hanoff.
Aye.
Mosier.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
Aye, motion passes. Next, we have item number 4. It's a transient merchant license. Consideration of memorandum number 26-153, recommending to the City Commission approve the application for a transient merchant license received from Martha Huber, doing business as Rustic Designs and More, also known as Martha's Crafts, 119 North 3rd, Ethan, South Dakota, 57334, from August 1st to September 1st, 2026, for metal yard ornaments in the parking lot located at 2320 Broadway Ave. Commission, do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion? Seeing no mics come on. Anyone from the public? Seeing no movement, roll call.
Brunick.
Aye.
Sarda.
Aye.
Conkling.
Aye.
Hanoff.
Aye.
Mosier.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Birch.
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
Aye, motion passes. Excuse me. Next, we have item number 5. We have another transient merchant license. This will be consideration of memorandum number 26-154, recommending the City Commission approve the application for a transient merchant license received from Kalen Board, doing business as The Thrifty Hippie, 408 Cedar Street, Yankton, South Dakota, 57078, from July 14th, 2026 to August 14th, 2026, to sell vintage and homemade items located at 408 Cedar Street. Commission, do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor. Any commission discussion?
Kudos to the name.
See no mics come on. Anyone from the public? Roll call, please.
Sarda.
Aye.
Conkling.
Aye.
Hanoff.
Aye.
Mosier.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Birch.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 6 is a special events alcoholic beverage license. Consideration of memorandum number 26-155, recommending that the City Commission approve the application from Ben's Brewing Company for a special on-sale malt beer and South Dakota farm wine license and special on-sale wine retailer's license for one day, August 6, 2026, for the Music at the Meridian events at Riverside Park. Commission, do I have a motion?
So moved?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Anyone, have questions or points to make?
Was this just an additional date that was added? Because I think, didn't we already approve July, so we just added an extra date? Is that what's going on here? Or did we forget one? I'm just curious as to where the
That's
August 6th.
That's what's going on here, and I'm not sure if we're able to announce why it's going on or not yet. Luke, is that something that's for public consumption?
Yeah, not to let the cat out of the bag yet, but we had a request from a community entity that wanted to celebrate a significant anniversary, and they had asked if potentially sponsoring an additional night was something that would be feasible to help them kind of celebrate this milestone anniversary for them. So we've done the legwork on that, but some of the legwork involves some revisions to what I would kind of call our normative Music at the Meridian setup, including Ben being there. So this is why there's that additional. And that information will be probably kind of made public knowledge here within the next week in terms of how and who and what's going to happen with this.
Good question.
I don't think anybody's going to complain we get an extra night.
That's right. Look forward to that announcement. Okay, again, good question. Any other questions or comments, Commission? See no mics come on. Anyone from the public? Roll call.
Conkling.
Aye.
Hanoff.
Aye.
Mosier.
Aye.
Spencer.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Birch.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Sarda.
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
Aye, motion passes. Next, item number 7, the formal adoption of federal grant administration policies and procedures. Consideration of memorandum number 26-156, recommending the City Commission approve the attached document updating the City of Yankton's federal grant administration policies and procedures. Before I entertain a motion on that, who would like to give us a little bit of an explanation?
I can provide a little bit of information, Mayor.
Thank you.
Through our 2025 audit process, our auditors recommended we update our current grant policy, especially on federal grants and internal controls. There really wasn't anything being done wrong at the city level, but there's just been a lot more revisions at the federal level There's been a lot more uniform guidance. So based off our auditor's recommendations, the policy before you has been enhanced on top of the original policy that we passed in July 14th, 2020. Nothing has really changed for the most part. It's just writing down what we do.
Okay, thank you.
More details.
Thank you. Okay, I'll entertain a motion then.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further commission discussion or questions? See no mics. Come on, anyone from the public? See no movement, roll call.
Hanoff?
Aye.
Mosier?
Aye.
Spencer?
Aye.
Benson?
Aye.
Birch?
Aye.
Brunick?
Aye.
Sarda?
Aye.
Conkling?
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva?
Aye, motion passes. Next item on the agenda here is item number 8. It's a 23rd Street Bridge Replacement Project Acceptance. Final change order and final payment. Consideration of memorandum number 26-157, recommending that the City Commission accept the completed bridge replacement project on 23rd Street. Project number 2023-026, approve change order number 3, and authorize the finance officer to issue a manual check to Alliance Construction LLC in the amount of $192,716.56. And I see Adam moved up to the mic. Would you give us just a quick update? How did things go and everything is looking good?
Yeah, the project's wrapped up, seeds taken, grass is growing, streets open. It's a very quick project, and it turned out really well, I believe. I'm sure the traveling public is glad that it's back open to traffic in a safe manner. We have a safe structure to cross the creek there now. If you'll recall, last year we put another load limit on this bridge, and we were pretty aggressive at getting a new design underway and getting it budgeted and getting the project done this year. So.
Yeah, thank you and staff for getting that done expeditiously. Really appreciate that. Okay, do we have a motion here to accept this?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other commission discussion or questions? Seeing no mics. Yes,
I would like
Commissioner.
to point out, in addition to your comments, Adam, that today I noticed that they have the new fencing up alongside over the creek too, and metal fencing, I think 4 foot high or so. Really looks sharp over there.
Great, good comment. Okay, so any other questions or comments? Seeing no mics, come on, anyone from the public? See no movement, roll call.
Mosier?
Aye.
Spencer?
Aye.
Benson?
Aye.
Birch?
Aye.
Brunick?
Aye.
Sarda?
Aye.
Conkling?
Aye.
Hanoff?
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva?
Aye, motion passes. And last but not least, item number 9, the city utility rate review and analysis. Consideration of memorandum number 26-158, recommending the city commission review and discuss the attached 2027 utility rate analysis. City manager, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the commission and the public. So few of us worked on this. Dwayne Johnson put the most effort into this, so Dwayne's actually going to give you the overview, but wanted to let you know that we came at this project a couple different ways. First, we had to look at, obviously, where our rates are and what our consumption is. We also had to take a look at our debt and how we can pay off our debt. We also needed to take a look at the projects that we have, and we also needed to look at the cash that we currently have on hand. So we do have some recommendations for you tonight, and we'll want to also discuss those recommendations with you because, at least for me, I have some caveats with at least one of those recommendations. So we're going to let Dwayne give you his presentation, and I know he's going to pause a couple of times for some questions. We gave you a few handouts that he'll reference during his presentation, and again, he'll stop a couple of times and ask for questions because it does get pretty in-depth as we get into each of the various utilities. Kyle is also here if we start talking more in depth about a project or type of project and you're uncertain what it is. we're happy to have him come up to the mic and explain what a type of project is, or where something is, or why we have to do a certain project now. So he's here for that as well. So with that, Dwayne, I'll let you start off.
Thanks, Amy. Honorable Mayor, City Commissioners, and members of the public, Dwayne Johnson. I'm the Director of Information and Technology Services for the city. And tonight I'll be presenting the findings of the City of Yankton's 2026 to 2030 utility rate analysis. The City Commission requested that staff conduct a detailed review of the utility rates and charges. This report summarizes the current health of each utility, examines the rate structures, reviews revenues and expenditures, determines the necessary debt coverage ratios, details capital expenditures from 2026 through 2030, and finally makes rate recommendations for 2027. The scope of this report only examines the rates and rate structure to determine the adequacies in meeting current and future operating costs. While the report does include some components of a formal cost of services study, it does not make any recommendations to change the overarching rate methodology that the City of Yankton has used historically in each one of the utilities. A change in the rate structure would not affect the necessary operating funds required for each enterprise. It would only review the distribution of those operating costs across each one of the different user classes. This report's the product of the work of numerous staff across multiple departments. In my opinion, the document stands strongly on its own merits, but like any other analysis, budget, or planning document, the moment one of the input changes, the resulting document can change drastically. The city experienced this with American Food Group's decision to close the Simples plant in Yankton in 2025. Some of the challenges that we had in compiling this analysis include the drastic changes in water and wastewater utilities with the loss of our largest single customer, which would be the Simples plant. And then since the closure of the Simples plant, we've not yet operated completed a full fiscal year to establish a new baseline for revenues and expenditures. And then finally, with the implementation of a new finance software utility billing record system for 2025, all of those records exist in two disparate systems. So we have part of the year in one system and part of the year in another. The city's mission statement specifically mentions providing exemplary services that create opportunities for everyone to learn, engage, and thrive. By investing today in the city's utility infrastructure, it ensures safety, compliance, and reliability for tomorrow. These structured adjustments protect our community's infrastructure, maintain strict regulatory compliance, and guarantee high-quality utility services while actively managing costs to protect vulnerable households. Clean water, reliable sanitation, and efficient waste management are some of the silent backbones of our community's health, safety, and economic vitality. Proactive stewardship, deferring necessary structural adjustments or capital planning only compounds future costs, leading to reactive emergency repairs that cost significantly more than planned infrastructure renewals. And finally, financial stability. Rates are calibrated strictly to reflect the true cost of service delivery, maintaining the fiscal self-sufficiency of our enterprise funds without relying on general fund tax dollars. Each fund is operated like a business. For the balance of this report, 2025's actual costs were used for the basis of the analysis, with a 5% inflationary adjustment made annually for each subsequent year's projections. This methodology reflects the accurate depiction of actual expenditures and revenues for one operating year. The one potential downfall of using 2025 data is that the analysis could undershoot or overshoot a trend in expenditures that may more accurately be captured by the annual budgeting process. From 2020 through 2025, each of the utilities experienced a 20 to 30% increase in personnel and operating costs. In addition to that, inflationary pressures over the past several years, the cost of specialized water treatment chemicals, electrical power, pipeline materials, and specialized labor have increased dramatically. Some of these costs are outlined in the attachments in the analysis. In addition, industry and economic trends, municipal water and wastewater systems are entering a costly transition period. These are typically characterized by large structural cost increases in personnel, operating and capital costs, decrease in available funding options, including the proposed cuts on the national level to both the clean water and drinking water SRF appropriations. And then finally, stricter EPA guidelines. For example, PFAS mitigation, EPA lead and copper rule revisions. Each of these factors push utility rates to a level that creates an affordability issue for utility customers. Other contributing factors to escalating costs include chemicals. Bulk chemical costs have risen sharply in comparison to pre-pandemic levels. Many of the components are up 30 to 65%. Energy costs. In rural areas like South Dakota, rising fuel and energy prices have a compounding effect on the cost of goods in the local economy. Transportation increases the base cost of these goods by amplifying the impact of inflation versus larger urban areas. Gasoline prices are 20 to 25% higher. Diesel fuel prices are up 30 to 35% versus 2025. In addition to the increase in the cost of goods, fuel prices significantly drive up our transportation costs for solid waste operations. In 2024, Northwestern Energy increased local rates in Yankton roughly 19%. These costs are felt across the entire community and hit energy-intensive operations like water and wastewater extremely hard. On the technology and cybersecurity fronts, water and wastewater utilities are feeling the impacts of skyrocketing technology and cybersecurity costs. Municipalities are feeling the crunch from the expense of overhauling distribution, collection, and treatment infrastructure. And one of the trends we noted as a staff is that we've moved away from the purchase of technology and owning it to annual or monthly subscriptions, renewals, updates, and it's basically software and professional services as a service that's renewable. Equipment, capital costs, staffing have all increased sharply as outlined in this report. Utility rates provide dedicated infrastructure funding. Funds collected from each respective utility bill are reinvested directly back into local pipes, the treatment plants, and collection trucks. Moving on to the analysis, and that's the handouts that we gave that are the Excel charts. I'm going to start with wastewater, and mainly because it's likely to generate the most questions, and that will help explain how the analysis is laid out, and each one of the subsequent ones kind of follows the same format. The proposed rate row at the top shows the adjustment annually, which is typically in November, and that rate affects the following year. So 2025's adjustment shows up into 2026 revenues. The next section is the revenues, including a total. After that, O&M costs includes wages and benefits, 100 series, and operating costs, 200 series, less the depreciation, plus debt service for SRF loans. That equals the total operating expenses, which, when deducted from total revenues, yields the cut line that's the operating income. And that, again, is without depreciation or any capital expenditures. Depreciation's listed for 2025, but not included in any of the calculations. And the main purpose behind that is, while most industry standards are to include depreciation, with the amount of investments that we've made in plant and capital improvements, the depreciation schedules vary wildly from year to year. Capital improvements are then deducted from the operating income to determine a net operating income plus any non-operating income, which would include things like grants, SRF loans. The resulting total is what is added or deducted from reserve funding, i.e. the fund balance, and then the ending fund balance is shown below the additional revenue line. The projected additional revenue line is just that. It's an estimate of what the rate increase may yield from the previous year. And this is what has changed, what the change is in users' fees versus the previous year. The last item on the page is the recommended minimum operating reserves. This is 90 days estimated at approximately 30% of the total operating expenses plus capital. In wastewater, an increase of 3% is recommended. That ends up being approximately $1.10 per month for households using an average of 5,000 gallons. However, a larger increase may be a prudent action. A large degree of uncertainty exists within this fund. The $50 million plant renovation project has passed the midway point, but as the loss of AFG Simples plant highlights a shrinking operating income annually. The final cost of the plant project will impact the overall health of the fund in the short term. This fund may need an additional attention if only a 3% consumption rate is imposed. While we've completed a lot of the treatment plant project, nearly $25 million remains, and with the project being a remodel retrofit, it increases the unknown from a contingency standpoint. In wastewater, similarly to water, the need to begin a scheduled replacement of clay tile sewer mains and manholes has been identified. Neither of these costs are included in the capital cost used in the projections. The clay tile pipe replacement alone would be in the $12 million range in today's dollars. Current projections show negative fund balances without changes in capital investment amounts. The inlet screen works project, if not necessary, would ease the burden of the future projected costs substantially in this fund. That project's identified as $4.5 million and is shown in the CIP in 2028. Kyle's assured us that after we're operating with the plant, they'll have a much better handle on whether or not that project's going to be needed. It's also our recommendation that the commission watches this fund closely and be prepared to make adjustments as the current situation gains clarity. With that, I'll take a break and open it up to any questions specific to wastewater or any of the materials that I've covered so far.
Any questions, commissioners? Okay. City manager?
I'd just like to ask Dwayne a question that I asked him earlier that might come up as you guys are thinking about this later. What difference does the CMAR wastewater project make in terms of our cash balance? And so I know that we're coming towards the end of the project and we're getting to the point of making some final decisions. Maybe this is a question for Kyle. How certain or uncertain can we be, and how different could that change what we might feel comfortable recommending for a rate increase?
So I can answer half of that question. Half of it is my understanding that the contingency portion of the project is $1 million owner-provided contingency and $3 million in project contingencies. So there's $4 million of contingency expenditures that are still potentially outstanding. The certainty part of it, I'll leave to Kyle. He's way more familiar with that part of the project than what I would be.
Yeah, it's a good question and a hard question to answer at this time. I would estimate there will be some contingency left, but anytime you get in a retrofit project, I'm not comfortable saying there will be. Every little thing we do seems like it nickel and dimes us a little bit. So I think at this point, the safe bet would be to budget for the full amount of the project. But, you know, we could have $1 million or $2 million swing in that project yet.
And that's why I said I have some caveat about some of our recommendations. I didn't feel like we could recommend more than 3% for wastewater as an increase because we didn't have the math to support it, because we don't know the answer to that question. But I feel really uneasy with 3% because if we use up that contingency, 3% probably won't be enough, as I understand the numbers, Dwayne, of a rate to cash flow. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that is a fair statement. In addition to that, I think that the inlet screen project that I'd mentioned earlier in the presentation at $4.5 million in 2028 also plays into that decision. You know, worst case scenario, we're going back to the SRF pool to fund those projects, the inlet screen works, and then cover additional capital expenditures if we expend all of our remaining funds, the $4 million in contingencies on the plant project. Well, any additional capital expenditures will be borrowing money, which will require more rates to support that debt.
And we're not going to know that much more by September when the commission approves the budget.
And on the screening, it's, if we were designing this plant from scratch, we would have a finer screen than what we have.
Right.
I would say we're probably 80% confident that the screen we have will work, but we're leaving that in the budget. And it'll probably take us at least a year of operation to know if it's going to work. We're confident, but there's always that concern, so we left that in the budget.
Thanks.
Okay, any other questions while Kyle's up at the mic? Okay, thanks, Kyle.
All right, if with that, I'll move on to water. No changes in rates is recommended with the current rate of inflation running at 4.2%. This, however, is effectively going backwards from a revenue standpoint. Again, using 2025 as a base year. Of note is the decrease in metered sales of 1% with a 3% rate increase that was effective November 2025. Seems counterintuitive, but that's the change when you see a loss of a large utility customer. Also, a negative net operating income after debt service each year. This fund has significant reserves due to the early enactment of the rates necessary to support the water treatment project in conjunction with the timing of the completion of that project, and then the delay in reaching full debt service for the SRF loans allowed this fund to accumulate some additional reserves. Of note, the treatment plant's reaching the point of experiencing its first major routine repairs and maintenance expenses after the construction of the new addition. Kyle's been talking about, and you'll see in the capital improvement plan, starting to see some wear and tear on some of the pumps and motors. There's the testing of the RO filter membranes. Those kind of things are all kind of coming to a head as the plant's been operating for a while. In addition to the capital improvement expenditures detailed in the CIP, we need to replace lead service lines, and that's also a new addition to the capital improvement plan. Not currently included in the plan is the identified need to replace nearly 183,000 feet of outdated cast iron water mains. In today's dollars, the pipe replacement alone would exceed $7 million. And that kind of summarizes the water portion of it again. I'll pause if there's any questions specifically related to water.
Any water questions, Commission?
I have just one. Where are we at on the timeline with the Cedar Knox partnership?
We're looking at a connection probably next spring, possibly late fall, but most likely next spring.
Just to follow up to Commissioner Mosier, your question, if you take a look at the bulk sales line in the water requirements spreadsheet, you'll start to see revenue from Cedar Knox show up in 2027 and then ramp up to in 2028 and then carry on out past that. And that's been reflected as a revenue in the out years. And that's a little bit of an estimate based on their system history and the contract that we have with them.
How does that compare to the loss of Simples? The projections of what we're talking about with Cedar Knox in comparison to the loss of what we think we lost with Simples? Do we have any estimates on that or ideas on that?
Well, Commissioner Brunick, the one caveat I would give in that is, since American Food Groups and Simples was an individual customer, I'm a little bit hesitant to talk about their specific details, just like I would any other customer's details. So you can get a pretty good idea in looking at the overall chart of the revenues, and I can give you some of those numbers in aggregate later if you'd be interested in it, just as an overall what the decrease has been in the revenues in each fund.
That's fair, and I'd take you up on that.
Okay.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Kyle, what's the projected 2028 and 2029? Got $10 million of expenditures. What's coming down the pipe for that?
I think one of them might be the membrane replacements.
Oh, yeah,
but
the largest one was the membrane replacement. We did just clean those here in the last couple of weeks. We did our first chemical clean in place ourselves. This is the third time we've done a chemical clean in place, which is actually really good. We originally looked at possibly doing those as much as twice a year, and we're getting a couple of years between cleanings. Fingers crossed we'll be able to push those membranes out a while, but that's going to be the biggest expense coming forward. But we are seeing a lot of pump repairs, motor repairs, HVAC repairs in the facility that, we're starting to get that age on the facility, but the membranes will be the largest one.
Yeah, just to add a little more detail for Kyle, the membranes end up being $2 million in 2028 and $2 million in 2029. And then in addition, there's the 1972 plant upflow basin rehab, which ends up being 1.7 million. So of that, 5.7 million is those two projects. And that's all kind of laid out in detail back in the attachments that the capital improvement plan is included for water, wastewater, and then solid waste as well. That's kind of page 29 in this in the analysis.
And I have to apologize, I didn't put glasses on, I can't see anything. I haven't gotten used to getting old.
Even the man behind the curtain's got glasses on tonight. Any more questions on water? If not, I'll move on to solid waste.
Okay, I think that's it. Thanks, Dwayne.
I've got one quick question. I'm sorry, just one quick question. Water usage this summer, in comparison to water usage last summer. Do we know what those differences are? Because last year at this time, there hadn't been hardly any watering, where I would think that this summer we certainly have had considerably more.
So I did a pretty deep dive on that, actually, Commissioner Brunick. If you look in the attachments, I compared the revenue, and this is one of the things that kind of threw me a curveball, is I forgot about the fact that Simples was still operating at the beginning of the year last year. If you go to page 25, that gives you a detailed month-by-month breakout of water and wastewater revenue for January through June of 2025 and 2026 with a year-to-date comparison and the percent change. So both of those funds were 10 to 25% below 2025 for 2026, and then rebounded slightly on the wastewater side and pretty substantially on the water side. So May and June were up 23% and 17% respectively from the water side.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anything else before I move on to solid waste?
Any questions, commissioners? Okay, I think that's it.
Solid waste. This utilities revenue stream remains fairly consistent due to the nature of the rate structure and its inelasticity of demand, meaning you can't really conserve because it's based on charges for a fixed quantity. Water and wastewater, people maybe get carried away watering their lawn and get a little bit of shock factor. The next month they might cut back. With solid waste, adjustments in the rates are pretty inelastic, meaning that for a 3% rate increase, you end up with a 3% increase in revenue for the most part. Operating income remains consistent, and net operating income in this fund fluctuates in direct response to the capital expenditures. This fund suffers from the high cost of a relatively few capital purchases, i.e. garbage trucks. Very expensive, purchased infrequently, but are kind of a shock to this budget. Recycling costs continue to increase, with the most recent increase being in May of 2026. In addition to the tipping fee costs, transportation costs will likely continue to climb with the increased cost in equipment and fuel. The commission may wish to address the continued viability of the curbside program in the future. The analysis document contains more information about each utility, its history, and specific challenges and opportunities. Also, the attachments included with the analysis provide some valuable additional information. At the end is also included a comparison of Yankton's rates to other municipalities in the state. Yankton is one of the highest of the entities compared. However, Yankton has also invested heavily in water and wastewater treatment plants, driving up our rates locally. Other jurisdictions will catch up as they undergo the same types of improvements. Other external variables like congressional funding, Dakota Main Stem project, regionalization projects like our efforts with Cedar Knox, rural water, and the city's relationship with BY will all continue to impact and shape the future of each one of the funds. This brief summary of the information included in the analysis outlines the health of each the utility funds and provides recommendations for 2027's rates. If you haven't had an opportunity yet to visit the utility facilities, staff's open to making arrangements in the next few weeks to schedule times. The recommendations in total amount to approximately $23.16 annually for an average household using 5,000 gallons. And with that, I'd open it up for any additional questions, either for myself, City Manager Leone, Utility Director Kyle Goodmanson, or Public Works Director Adam Haberman.
Commissioners, yes, go ahead.
Something dawned on me that would impact all three rates. What do we account for in growth in the city and usage? Obviously, we have a large housing project going on east of town, west of town. We had a bunch of new housing development north of town. Do we reflect that in any of these numbers, or when you project for future years, is it where we're at now?
And I looked at that in detail, and when you look at our usage, consumption, water production charts, there really wasn't any linear relationship that I could establish. Water suffers a lot based on the weather. While there is generally an uptick in growth, specifically in solid waste, you can see some of that, but there also is some variations that can't really be accounted for. No major changes in the community, but yet a downturn in the quantities of materials handled at the facility and thus subsequent revenues. So the short answer is no, I didn't include any growth factor in any of the utilities with the exception of including the additional revenue for Cedar Knox. Nor did I include any decreases for any transitional changes with any potential transition of our BY customer base to their plant being serving those water needs instead of Yankton's water plant. So.
Okay. Any other questions, commissioners?
I didn't have a question, but I had a comment about, we were talking about the automated truck that we're looking at, and we were talking about him, whether or not we were going to be losing any full-time employees, and we're not. But one of the things that I think that it's a proactive measure that hopefully, as we do grow, we can continue to support, support ourselves with the staff that we have, instead of having to add maybe necessarily staff in the future to to absorb some of that growth. I just think that that's a valuable thing to point out, that trying to be proactive, trying to find out efficiencies, ways to, keep the cost down for everyone in the community.
Absolutely. Okay, go ahead, Commissioner.
We've moved into the comments period, so I'm going to take advantage of that. I agree with the recommendation here in the memorandum, which is a combined impact increase of approximately $1.93 per month or $23.16 annually. I would agree with that. It's obviously less, than it has been. I think in our last 3 years, our combined increase in trash was 17%. In the last 4 years in wastewater, we average about a 12.5% increase, which is a combined 50% increase over 4 years. So I agree with this recommendation. And, I get citizens from time to time complain about utility costs. I'm sure the rest of the commissioners hear this too sometimes. And so I did a little checking into that to see how we compare. And these are cities we looked at here are Mitchell, Yankton, Aberdeen, Pierce, Spearfish, Brookings, Rapid City, Sioux Falls, and Watertown. And Mitchell had the highest water at $136.65 a month, $136.65 a month. Just last year, they completed a big project with the Randall Water District, in which they built a 70-mile pipeline from near the Missouri River by Platte to Mitchell, and that's the reason theirs is more than twice as much as the next highest, because they, of that $121 million project, they were responsible for $70 million of it. But anyway, back to rates, I see in my look at these 9 cities, Yankton was 3rd highest in water, and we understand some of the reasons for that. 2nd highest in sewer, 2nd highest in trash. So I think a more modest increase is certainly would be welcomed by the public. The Watertown, I've actually looked at these numbers every 5-10 years going back to the 1980s, and Watertown has always been the lowest. And so I called their city manager today and said, well, how have you been able to do that? It's a very simple answer. They're subsidized by the general fund. So we, I'm sure that's what some communities do. I know we try to make it a self-funding operation, but they don't have any magic formula. They're just getting some of the money from a different source. That's all I wanted to share.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Anyone else? Okay, other comments? Reminder, this was just a review and a discussion. And again, if we feel like we're going to stay with the $1.93 per month increase, and we'll come back again for a resolution, correct, Amy?
Yeah, if the commission feels like this is the increase is acceptable, these are the rates that we would plan to come back to you with at our next meeting with 3 separate resolutions, and this is what we would base our budget on. If you pass those rate resolutions, then we can keep moving further on with the 2027 budget.
Okay. All right. Again, any other commission discussion?
I just thank you for putting it all together.
Yes.
Everybody who worked on that, I was impressed. I know everyone worked on it, but Dwayne, you put together a great presentation and present it well. Thank you.
Yeah, great job, Dwayne. Again, thank you. Okay. Well, commissioners, if there's nothing else, then that's going to bring us to our next section on our agenda. That's going to be future business. So right now, if there's, this is the time for any commissioners to bring up any future business they'd like to see on the possible next agenda. Any future business, commissioners? Seeing no lights come on, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor to adjourn, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.